Greetings, fellow fiends and fans of Halloween. I am Ben the Halloween Hoarder, and today is Halloween. I'll start by saying Happy Halloween to all of you out there. May today be spooky and fun for you all. On this Monday, the 31st of October, 2022, this is my panther. His name is Kitty. He's the sweetest, most affectionate cat I've ever seen in my life, and he really came to me when I needed him the most. In this video, I want to show you 4 pieces from my collection that I acquired 2 years ago, and I've just been dying to show you. But they've been right here the whole time, patiently gathering dust, and now it's time to show them to you. Igor, the lights. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. My name is Ben, and I irresponsibly hoard Halloween decorations. My favorite being jack-o'-lanterns. If you love Halloween, consider subscribing because I have so much more to show you. All right, let's get right into it. For some of you, this may be your first time seeing my chin. So the first 3 items I want to show you are these 3 buckets from Empire Plastics. The Monster Face and the Ghost Bucket first appeared in the Empire Plastics catalog in 1990. So let's start with the Monster Face. This sculpt is kind of like a gnarly monster face, maybe like Frankenstein's monster. He's got kind of a gnarly face with a scar and that Spock haircut. It is sculpted all the way around. You can see the lines of his hair in the back. Got his ear right there, and onto his grotesque face. If I was better at research or just knew more about Halloween, I could tell you who sculpted this, but as of now, I cannot. If you know who sculpted it, drop it in the comments so everybody can know. And there's the stamp on the bottom. It has the Empire logo and a series of numbers, although I don't see any of that alluding to the year 1990. Although this bucket was in production for several years after that, so maybe it equates to the year that it was actually cast. I acquired all 4 of the pieces you'll see in this video about 2 years ago. A good friend of mine goes to vintage resales and auctions all the time. He's there to look for mid-century furniture, clothing, etc. But he knows I love Halloween, so he picked these pieces up for me. It definitely pays to have friends on the lookout, especially when they're not interested in Halloween. And now we'll talk about this Ghost Bucket. This bucket appeared in the same Empire Plastics catalog in 1990 alongside the Monster Face. This one is also sculpted all the way around. Gives it that kind of flowing sheet look. 2 giant eyes. Some goth makeup. One of the things I love about these buckets is they're not just round. It doesn't have like the typical pumpkin shape. Very flat bottom, and all 3 of these are just shaped so differently. You can tell they're all unique sculptures. The handles on these buckets are riveted on both sides, which usually means an older bucket. Get in a little closer and you can see the Empire stamp on this mold. It's a capital E with a crown on it. Man, they made some cool stuff. The last of the 3 buckets is this skull. Such a cool sculpt. This skull was first seen in the Empire Plastics catalog the following year in 1991. That was the first time that all 3 buckets were presented together in the same catalog, although I think the coolest and most recognizable ad came out in 1993. This is such a cool setup with the bricks in the background, and this is actually the first ad I ever saw with these 3 buckets in them. Hold it. Let's get things straight. The Monster Face bucket first appeared in the catalog in 1989, followed by the Ghost Bucket in 1990. Lastly, the Skull Bucket was released in 1991. And the cool ad that I remember seeing so vividly actually came out in 1992. So these are the correct dates. And all these catalog images are courtesy of blowmolded.com. Check out their amazing archive of blow mold images and information. And now back to the show. Let's take a closer look. This bucket is also sculpted all the way around with some pretty cool detail. I really love the paint jobs on these old buckets where it just looks like they hit it with some spray paint. Such a rad bucket. And here's the Empire Plastic stamp on this bucket. It was super rad to have a friend find all 3 of these at the same spot. I think these are some of the coolest, if not the best buckets the Empire Plastics ever made. Each one proudly bearing that 90s nostalgia look. Like I said, I've been wanting to show you these for so long. They've just been patiently collecting dust, but I'm so glad that I get to show them to you today on Halloween. The last item in this video is not a bucket, and it's not from Empire Plastics. Let me get it for you. This remote control witch with a platter was used to carry candy buckets around or anything else you'd want to put on there. This piece is so rad. I love each and every detail on here. This monster comes from a company called Mr. Christmas. They didn't make a ton of Halloween stuff, which you can kind of guess by the name. I'm not entirely sure when this first came out, and I actually reached out to the Mr. Christmas company. They said that they had no idea because they had changed systems in the 2000s. My guess is sometime in the early 90s. You can see this piece is filthy and covered in dust. Whenever I show items on my channel, I always present them in the way that I found them or received them. I think it adds some of that nostalgic feel. This witch is mostly intact. It has its remote, but I won't be putting batteries in and trying it because she is missing a wheel. You can see on the bottom of the witch that it has the drive wheels on either side. This would be the wheels that move when you press the remote control. And on the opposite sides, it has these caster wheels to hold it steady. This one is intact. This one, I don't know if you can tell, but this one is missing. I do have the piece that fits in there, but it's broken. It's gonna take some time to try and fit it back in there. So in its present condition, she kind of tips forward. That's such a rad sculpt, such a rad paint job on this. I think even without it working, it looks like such a cool display piece. Well, down the line, I'm gonna clean this up, take a look at the bottom, put some batteries in it, try and get the wheel back on there, and see if we can get this trick-or-treat witch rolling. But while we have her here, let's take a closer look. Here you can see the remote. It has a forward button and a turn button. So she's always going forward, just depends on where you spin her. This is the back. Has that long wire antenna reminiscent of the late 80s. I'm just noticing a ton of spider webs underneath this part here. Actually, spider webs pretty much all over this thing. I'll spin her around for you. Look at that face. I really like that face because it's almost like a cartoon brought to 3D. This is the platter that she's holding above her head that you could put a trick-or-treat candy bowl on, or some snacks, a drink, anything you want to cruise around. You can see the back of her hat there. Her flowing green hair and purple cape. Got some witch boots on. Little purple dress. And those striped socks. Now I'll show you some closer detail. There's her face and the price tag. $7, can't beat that. I really like the paint job they did here with the base coat and then some shadow and highlight work. Now you can see how really dusty this piece is. It's gonna look great when I clean it up. And there's one of those spider webs. Here's her profile. I think that's even a dead spider in there. There's the on-off switch and the one caster wheel that's intact. Here's a look at the bottom. Here you can see that barely visible Mr. Christmas tag. and a series of numbers. And this is what I believe might be 1993. There's the battery compartment, complete with a rusty screw. Well, thank you so much for checking out this video. I know it's been a while, and I can't wait to get back into this. If you enjoyed this video, don't be afraid to hit that like button. Happy Halloween, everyone. And as always, thanks for watching. More videos coming soon. I really liked making this one.